All right, welcome back to another episode of the Biohacker Babes. This is episode 330, and I'll be your co host today. My name is Renee, tuning in from Las Vegas, and I have my fellow babe across the country. What's up, Lar?
That's me. Hey, everybody. I'm tuning in from Pittsburgh. We've done quite a lot of podcasts here, but it's snowy. We just had this big East Coast snowstorm. So I guess what better thing to do than record a lot of podcasts? And we've had a string of really fun ones, but I'm especially excited for today because we got something that's quite popular out there in mainstream health. What are we talking about, Renee?
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about this today. I'm like, we always say we're so excited to bring this topic to you, but it's true. If we weren't excited, we wouldn't be
We
sharing it with
wouldn't
you
be
guys.
doing it.
Yeah,
Today,
so
we're really not that excited to be talking to you about. Yeah,
this
no, we wouldn't
boring
be here.
topic. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to be focusing all on peptides today because, yeah, like Lauren said, it's hit mainstream. We've actually been using peptides personally since 2019. We've done a couple episodes over the years with different peptide experts, but it's been 2 years since we've done one. So now that everyone's talking about it, we wanted to do an episode dedicated to like the basics of peptides because we did an Instagram post back in December and gosh, I got so many messages and comments, like a lot of questions. And I realized, well, people do want to know more about peptides. So here's your peptide 101. You can share it with friends and family that are maybe curious about it too. But yeah, like we said, it's gone mainstream and we are like, why did that happen all of a sudden? And we think it's because of like Ozempic,
Yeah.
Wegovy, it's the GLP-1s because who doesn't know about that now, right? Like everyone
hmm
knows about GLP-1s, but there are so many more peptides and biohackers have been using these for a really long time. And even if you think about the peptide insulin, that's been around a really long time. So this is nothing new. It's just gaining popularity. So we want to make sure you feel educated about this topic. You know about safety, quality, the best resources. So here's your 101 episode on peptides.
Cool. I love this tipping point in the wellness industry where all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, we're all talking about this. And I do find pretty much everyone knows about these GLP-1s, like an Ozempic, where I still find that I find myself in certain conversations where people still don't know about something like red light therapy. And both of these are very foundational to health, which we're going to talk about. But right now, they're novel and exciting. And we do, as Renee said, want to make sure that you understand the why behind them because they are integral to life. Like these are endogenous molecules, meaning your body makes them already. This is not something that is foreign to the body that we just discovered a couple years ago in the science. No, our body makes them, and we're going to explain like we're trying to support our endogenous production of them. But we haven't done a lot of podcasts on them recently, and I think maybe the reason is I've always been a little bit nervous that people are going to look at these as like a magic pill. And I think that has happened in the GLP-1 world with things like Ozempic, Wegovy. People are like, oh, that's the answer to my metabolic health problems, my weight problems. If I just take that, then everything will be easy. And I'm not saying that that is wrong in all situations. We have done an episode dedicated to GLP-1s. They can certainly be a bridge to get you over the hump, particularly if you have food noise or if you do have a lot of insulin insensitivity or cardiovascular risk, a lot of inflammation. Like these can really be an amazing strategy to get you up the hump. But we always want to make sure you're doing the lifestyle interventions, that you're working on your behaviors that will have a much longer run, right? That's going to help your longevity if we're integrating these habits into your lifestyle. So there is a huge use case in that regard for peptides. But I think why we haven't talked about them is like we still think that people need to hear the basics, like getting the right kind of hydration and minerals and movement. I think a lot of people are still not doing that. So I would listen to this episode in a very honest way and really consider if this is something for you. I don't think you can do peptides without doing the foundations, but we're still going to give you the education on it so you can understand what this is and not just be sort of sucked up into this windstorm of, ooh, peptides are going to heal all my problems. They can certainly
Right.
help.
Right. And I would just add to that if you aren't doing all the other things, you might try peptides and not feel a difference and say, peptides don't work. Well, if you weren't getting enough protein, you weren't hydrated, blah, 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 yeah, you might not feel a difference. And they're not cheap. They're not cheap. So I would, yeah. Really, really important to do that. And then just to throw two previous episodes at you all, if you wanted to dive deeper, episode 128, we had Jay Campbell on, big peptide expert. We'll probably actually have him back on this year to go a little bit deeper. That episode was a lot about peptides for skin and hair, specifically like the copper peptide we're going to talk about today. But then he does go into more about peptides. And then also episode 181 with Nat Nidham, our dear friend. She is an expert in peptides and bioregulators. That episode was a little bit more about the bioregulators, which we are not going to touch on too much today. So we'll link to both of those in the show notes if you want to go a little bit more on those topics.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are peptides? What are they?
What are they? Oh, you're going to put me on the spot. Okay.
I want your definition.
This is just like, what is biohacking to you? Okay. What is a peptide? Basically, a peptide is a short chain of amino acids. We've all heard of amino acids. They are the building blocks of proteins. You know, we can take exogenous amino acids, essential amino acids, but our body's made of amino acids. These are like the building blocks. You think of like Legos. We were building structures. Well, you can build a body with amino acids. So peptides are really just like very short chains of that. And we'll get into like what makes a protein? How many do you need? What makes a bioregulator? There's different like lengths and sizes, but we can think of peptides. I love this analogy as like a biological text message. It's information for your cells. It's instructions. It is the manual to tell your cells what to do, how to express. I think more classically, they're defined as messenger molecules. Would you add anything to that definition?
Yeah, I think maybe just an example here, I think this can be helpful, is like when we hear the growth hormone peptides, that's kind of what people just categorize them as. It's not growth hormone, it's a peptide that's signaling to the body to increase growth hormone production. So we're not just injecting some random ingredient. It's signaling, hey, body, we want more of this. We want better metabolic health. We want better brain health. We want better sleep. It's signaling to the body, hey, this is what we're looking for.
Which is a big difference between, I'm just going to jump ahead, something we're going to talk about, the difference between a peptide and like a pharmaceutical drug. A peptide is signaling what your body's already doing to make it do it better or restore function of that cell or that function. Whereas a pharmaceutical is generally like replacing that or overriding that. It's doing it for you. Right?
Right.
So this is not a cheat code. We're just sort of like nudging and sort of, I guess, exercising these signals and these cells to do what they're already doing, just work better.
Yeah, exercising. That's a really good way to look at it. Yeah.
So just in terms of like the different sizes, because Renee mentioned bioregulators, we had Natalie Nidham to come on and talk about bioregulators. These are going to be like the shortest chains. These are the smallest sequences of these amino acids. It's typically like only 2 to 4. They're super small. Peptides are going to be the next step up where they're anywhere from like 2 to 50 amino acid chains or sequences. And then the next step up is actually the proteins. That's what we've heard of. Like amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. But we had these other levels underneath that we weren't talking about before. And then we also have hormones, which can be considered peptides. And that falls in like the 9 to 200 range. You know, that doesn't matter so much. I just want you to know that the peptides are a very specific chain of somewhere between 2 to 50 amino acids that are providing these cellular instructions. Now, they naturally exist in the body. This is not something that we found somewhere or just like magically discovered in a lab. They're already all over your body, and you've heard of a lot of them already, right? Like Renee said, the growth hormone, insulin, something like oxytocin that we get from hugging and like experiencing love. That's a peptide. We have so many peptides that you've already heard of. So these are not foreign, unfamiliar, weird, exotic things. They're already in your body.
Right. And because they're already in the body, there's a lot of safety with that, right? And they're water soluble. So even when you are injecting peptides, they're not stored in the liver or in the tissues. You know, your body breaks it down and can pass it on pretty quickly. So very safe.
And that's like part of their design, that like they're actually fragile. They dissolve and they break down very quickly. They're rapidly degraded, and that fragility is part of their safety. Unlike drugs, that can flood a receptor and keep flooding a receptor. It will saturate it. It'll hang around for a long time. And then there's sort of this like noxious cocktail perhaps of chemicals. So it is actually very safe that they break down quite quickly in the body. So let me ask you, Renee, if they're made in the body, how are we getting them in a vial or a bottle to be able to inject them? If we already have them in the body, why are we getting them in a bottle? Are they coming from humans? How are we synthesizing or manufacturing these?
Well, they are synthetic. They are coming from a lab. Yeah, and that's okay. I think some people think, oh, that's scary. It's coming from a lab. I don't want to put it in my body, but it's already in your body. We're just finding a focused way to get it into that vial so we can provide a greater signal to the body, because all of these signaling pathways, they decline as we age, right? We know that with aging, our metabolic health worsens, our cognitive function worsens, our sleep gets harder. All of these things happen as we age. So just by pushing the needle a little bit more in that direction of, hey, this is what we're looking for, we can overcome a lot of the aging effects.
Yeah. Also along those lines, that the synthetic nature, they are synthesized in a lab, but they are manufactured in the exact same structure of this amino acid sequence that exists in your body. So the way that your bodies receive them, we have receptor sites for them, is your body actually doesn't know that it's endogenous versus exogenous, because the structure, it's like a lock and key, which we'll get into, fits. The structure is recognized. So your body doesn't go, ooh, that's scary or foreign. And we know that that's a big concern with, let's say, like autoimmunity, where the body starts self-attacking. Your body actually just is like, oh, that's supposed to be in there because it fits. It's the right structure. It's very familiar to us. So even though, yes, it's synthesized in the labs have done a really good job at creating an identical structured molecule to enter the body.
Right. Do you want to go ahead and explain like the lock and key analogy for that? Just go a little bit deeper into that.
Sure. So, okay, we've talked about cellular health, like our cells run the show. We have trillions of cells all over our body, and our cells really control our health, right? Like cell has the mitochondria, which produces energy, and we have the cell membrane, which then receives nutrients. We can get rid of toxic substances. We essentially like detox across the cell membrane. Like this is where all the information is coming and going in your body. And with peptides that we already know, we mentioned just the examples: insulin, growth factor, oxytocin. You want to throw out some other ones that people know about?
Which ones do people know about? I'm trying to think.
Melatonin.
Yeah.
We have your hunger hormones like the ghrelin, leptin. Oh, and GLP-1, of course. Like your body makes GLP-1, right?
Yeah.
So
I kind of would throw in, I feel like BPC 157, most people know about that one now. Can we cross that line?
I feel like people know about that because of the peptide injections.
Yeah.
Like before we started talking about
true.
peptides, did we know that?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Where, well, GLP-1 falls in that category too. But like ghrelin and leptin, your hunger and satiety hormones / peptides. So your cells have receptor sites. You can think of this as a lock and a key. The receptor sites is the lock. The peptide is the key. So these locks are already on your cells waiting for information. So the key comes in and it fits very specifically into that lock, right? Because peptides are specific instructions. So it brings that instruction manual, that biological text message, and it fits it into that specific lock on your cell membrane. And your cell membrane goes, got it. I got the instructions. Now I'm going to, send the downstream cascade of information to express X, Y, and Z, right? So that's another reason why they're very safe, is because they're specific, where pharmaceutical drugs are a little more broad. They don't necessarily act on specific lock key receptors. They can target many different receptor sites, and that kind of then leads to all these additional symptoms, right? Like when you hear a drug commercial and it's like, benefits this, may cause death. Right? It's because we can't. It causes 100 things: diarrhea, things that you do not want, depression, things you don't want to cause because it's not specific. That's the really cool thing about peptides. They are very specific. There's a key with specific instructions fitting into a specific lock. Whereas the pharmaceutical drugs are just like, it's a key that fits into a very big lock and is, you could put any key in there, right? You can just break and enter into any cell. Yeah.
Why am I thinking of Alice in Wonderland when she falls down the thing and right, and there's like a key to the door, but then she's got to get small so the key works. Remember that?
Ooh, there's definitely a peptide analogy in there, but I gotta work that out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone was on LSD while injecting peptides when they created Alice in Wonderland story. I'm pretty sure.
1000%.
Yeah, because it was like, drink me to get bigger so this key works, and eat me to get smaller so this key works. There's some peptides in there. Yeah.
Okay, we'll circle back with that full story time.
That just came to me, so I might need to flesh it out, but
yeah.
So, and just like a high overview of all of the signaling that we're talking about with peptides, like what does that really mean in the body? It can be so many different things, but like healing and tissue repair, immune response, inflammation, hormones, metabolism, brain function, mood, mitochondrial health, aging, weight loss, sleep. Like pretty much any category of health, there could be a peptide in that category. And we're going to go deeper into those peptides in a little bit.
Yeah, and you're sort of mentioning like all the things that contribute to aging, right? When cell signaling in the body is diminished due to inflammation, oxidative stress, right, which are, we know, the very foundational root causes of aging and disease. Inflammation, oxidative stress, the cell signaling gets diminished just naturally as we get older, of course, right? Things degrade. So we're getting this breakdown of information and cellular repair. So really, like when the breakdown exceeds the repair that's needed, that's aging. So we're really just restoring that signaling, restoring the cellular communication so we can stay ahead of that repair. So that could equal a slowdown in aging or a slowdown in, these chronic things like an injury, perhaps. And that's, just to be specific, like that's what we have experienced with peptides mostly, at least for the longest period of time with something like BPC. We'll get into that.
Yeah. So just, I think we kind of covered really the difference between peptides and pharmaceuticals, but then, we also have supplements in there, which it's kind of like middle of the road. It's not signaling. It's not a signaling molecule. It's not like this random thing we're putting into the body that's causing all these side effects, but like a nutraceutical, it's still information to the body, but it's not really so much like the lock and key receptor analogy that you were talking about.
Yeah, I think with supplements, like we are supplementing things that we would normally get from diet,
hopefully from food
and
nature.
Water from nature, right? We're getting those nutrient cofactors like B vitamins and minerals, things like that. So
yeah, and peptides don't replace a lot of those.
No.
Yeah, the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids, the essential fatty acids, right? You technically could get a lot of that from your diet, but like we talk about on the show all the time, with our soil being so depleted and our food supply being pretty crappy, we're not really getting a lot of those from our food anymore. So we do believe in supplementing those, which can make the peptides work better.
Yeah.
So
definitely. Yeah. And then of course the pharma, which we already mentioned, which is just like replacing, overriding, more side effects, right? We're just like continually flooding these receptors. It can accumulate. They're long acting. We want something that's going to be signal. It's almost like, I don't know if there's an analogy to hormesis, but you've all heard about hormesis. We've talked about this is like a good stressor. It's like we're knocking on the door being like, hey body, wake up, do this better. It's a short stressor to turn on functions in the body. We wouldn't categorize peptides as a stressor, but it works in the same way as if we're going in there acutely and going, hey, turn this on. Hey, restore this function. Hey, work better.
Right, which is a good point in that what I love about peptides is they are short-term uses. So you don't have to finish this episode and say, oh, great, now I got to go buy these 20 peptides and take them for the rest of my life. We cycle all of them. Everything from, like Epitalon, which is 10 days twice a year, to maybe BPC 157 that's 8 weeks on, 8 weeks off or something. Like you're cycling all of them. So yeah, I like that analogy of almost comparing it to hormesis. You're going in, you're signaling, you're ramping things up, and then you're taking a break and letting your body run the show from there.
Yeah. Though I want to put you on the spot because I think maybe some people are thinking about this question. If they are short acting, why are we being told that GLP-1s have to be taken forever?
I mean, GLP-1s is a whole other category. It's like its own world of peptides. And I will say we have an episode coming out next week, episode 331, with Sarah Kennedy, the founder of CaloCurb, which is an alternative to these GLP-1 medications. It's from a plant extract. So definitely check out that episode if you want to go deep into that. But I don't think they should be used long term. I think a lot of people are maybe leaning on them too much. Again, are you doing all the other things? The diet, the exercise, the sleep, the stress management. If you're doing all those things, I don't think there's anything wrong with using a GLP-1 short term, like, hey, I gotta get a little boost in my body. I'm working on everything else. The food noise is just so overwhelming right now. I need someone to just quiet that out so I can focus on my healthy routine. And then once you learn how to live that lifestyle and your body has kind of relearned that, I would love for people to get off these GLP-1s.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, if we're looking at populations of people, at least right now, they're using something like a BPC 157 body protective compound for tissue healing, musculoskeletal injuries versus an Ozempic. A lot of that population is people that have poor food lifestyle behaviors, right? The BPC population probably has those foundational practices in place. So they're signaling to restore function, but they already have all the stuff underneath that's going to help the body hold on to that and continue. Where I think probably Ozempic, we don't have the behaviors to support it. You come off of it, you have this rebound hunger. You haven't been like working on your metabolic health. And so you're kind of at square one because you don't have the foundation. It's like building a really cheap house and then the wind blows and you're like, shit, I don't have a house anymore.
Yeah, yeah. And then even our recent guest where we talked more about emotional eating, I think the quote she said was something like, Ozempic isn't going to teach you how to love yourself.
Oh, that was a good quote.
Yeah, so that's the whole other thing is like, is it purely emotional eating? Yeah, you got to work through that. Like the GLP-1 could quiet that for a little bit. But when you get off of it, it's going to come back and it's going to haunt you if you haven't worked on that. I know that's a hard one.
Yes.
It's a hard one.
Well, you're just making me think of another point. Like, we're not looking at the root causes of this. So if we're going to compare, again, like a BPC versus Ozempic, if we're not looking at root causes, so for, let's just say, weight gain or weight loss resistance, if the root is emotional eating and you haven't addressed that, if the root is you're eating like non-foods, you're eating processed foods that are not giving you good cellular information, of course your body's going to keep telling you overeat, overeat, or overeat. Or you haven't built the muscle that's going to help you to burn fat and build good bone, right?
Right.
And then let's look at BPC. So if you're having a tissue injury, let's just say an Achilles tendonitis, and you take that BPC to help your healing, but you still are, I'm just going to say, moron, and you're just excessively exercising and you're not getting recovery. Like, how far is that BPC going to take you? Like, when you come off of it, if you're still doing the stupid things, right? It's probably going to help you while you're taking it, but you come off of it and you're like, wait, I'm still doing damage. I'm not recovering. Or maybe I have a movement dysfunction that I have not addressed that could be the underlying cause of why I have this tendonitis in the first place. So I think we could explain away the foundations of both, the root causes of both. So, just more food for thought. What else is going on here? What else am I potentially ignoring? Because the body, if you're ignoring it, it's going to find a way to tell you. If you don't listen, it's going to get louder. It's going to get louder. It's going to get louder. So we want to address the root causes, and then this can be the next level up to get you to that next level.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the peptides.
Yeah.
Ready to jump in? Let's start with the one that we've been throwing out there, BPC 157. So body protective compound. It does seem like this is in the peptide space, this has gained some popularity, maybe because a lot of people are dealing with pain. There's a lot of chronic pain for, like you said, many reasons. There's a lot of root causes there. But short term, I do think this can be really helpful. If you've had an injury, you've had a surgery. Like I personally, I just did 8 weeks of this. I did 4 weeks before my dental surgery and 4 weeks after my dental surgery to help with the healing and the pain. And then to throw into that same category, we have TB500, also really good for tissue repair and inflammation. So you'll see these two stacked together a lot, which I love because you cannot stack every peptide together. PSA. So you cannot be mixing them into the same vials. You cannot be mixing them into the same needles, injecting them. Some of them you don't even want to be taking at the same time. There's a lot of nuance there. Don't feel overwhelmed yet. But these two can go together and you can buy them together. So I'm like, if I'm already injecting one, why not inject the other? So BPC 157, TB 500, think healing, repair, recovery.
And did you take these for your first 2 dental surgeries or just this last one?
Just the last one.
Oh my gosh, because you were chipmunk status for 1 and 2.
I know.
And you were not swollen at all for the last one.
I know.
Was it the nature of the surgery, or do you think that played a role?
The surgery was a little bit easier. Obviously, getting titanium dental implants taken out, that was the worst surgery. I mean, they're drilling into the bone and removing something versus getting new implants put in, easier. So it's not a clean experiment, but I took pain meds for maybe 2 days and not even like opiate medications. I'm talking like Tylenol and some ibuprofen for 2 days, and then I really didn't need any, and I had barely any swelling. So I would like to think that it's the peptides. Thank you.
Of course, there's no way to go back and find out, but you did.
No, I will not do that.
You did really well. You were prepared to be a chipmunk again, and you were like, oh, I guess I can go out for New Year's.
Yeah, darn. Yeah.
So, BPC, just more information we already said, like it's made already in your body, primarily in the gut. And this is like a repair molecule when your body senses that there is repair to be done. So inflammation, tissue damage, your body goes, oh, got to go to that site and repair it. So it does have a very systemic effect. Now there's like different applications. You can use it locally, like you can inject it where your body needs it, though we know it tends to just go where your body needs it. And then you can also do an oral version, which will more specifically go to your gut for gut repair. So I would say those 2 broad categories of different case uses, like a musculoskeletal, tendon issue, which you can inject it for, versus something that's happening in the gut, which you would take an oral formulation for.
Yeah, I think that's important to point out the difference there. And just in general, Jay Campbell explained this to me. He said injectable peptides, it's about 100% absorption delivery. I mean, you're injecting it right into your body. Oral peptides, which you're going to see more and more of, these peptides in capsule form, he says they work, but it's about 60%. I know those are rough numbers, but just to keep in mind, if you're like, hey, I hate needles, I'm never going to inject, there are capsule forms, but you're just not going to get as much of a benefit unless it's something specific like BPC 157 for leaky gut repair. That's a different story.
Right. And that's a big reason why people are taking Ozempic once a week, because they don't want to have to inject every day of the week.
Yeah, I get that. I used to be that way. Now I inject once or twice a day and don't really think about it. But it takes a while to get there.
It does, yeah. And some people, I've also been doing acupuncture since I was a teenager. I don't even think twice about needles, but I know plenty of people, they're like, do not come near me with that thing. So it is good that we are finding other formulations. And yeah, we just have to know that the bioavailability is going to be lower. And that's, why people get like IV vitamins, like a Myers cocktail, that intravenous, you're going to absorb almost all of it versus swallowing a vitamin C or other vitamins, right?
Right.
Where do you know that difference in bioavailability?
Yeah. And the needles are super tiny. So if you are a little nervous, this is not like the needle you're getting when you get an IV or you get your blood drawn. Those are big needles. I get that. These are tiny insulin syringes. So,
Yeah.
okay. Next category, longevity and anti-aging, because we all want to live long, healthy lives,
Or just
right?
look younger.
Just look younger.
Help me. I'm on stage with 21-year-olds. I'm like, help me.
Oh, oh no, no comparison. Okay.
Yeah.
To kick off, this is a really cool one, Thymosin Alpha-1. This is looking at immune regulation. So that we do know that as we age, our immune system ages quite quickly. There's in fact a theory that the immune system is potentially the number one reason why we're aging. And that's why like the test glycanage is really cool because it's looking at the inflammation within the immune cells to determine how fast you're aging. But this one, it's really immune regulation. It's not just boosting your immune system. So it can actually be used in some cases of autoimmune conditions. I would work with a practitioner on that. I just used it because I caught some weird bug or something. I had like a sore throat and a fever for a couple days, but no other symptoms. So I injected Thymosin Alpha-1. I just did like one vial for a couple days just to get back on track. So this isn't something you would take all the time. I just think keep it in your medicine cabinet when your immune system needs some extra
Did it help
support.
you?
I think I feel like I got through it pretty fast. It was just like this weird little couple days and then I was fine.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know there are people that are suggesting that, like, have it on hand in case you're getting sick, especially, who has time to get sick? But, maybe sometimes there's a better time to get sick than other times, a
For
holiday
sure.
event, travel. So maybe you
For
want to
sure.
have it on hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's kind of exciting. It's like, ooh, what's the antidote to getting sick? Not that sick is always bad. We talked about that, but cool. We'll share more about that in coming episodes. Next one on the longevity anti-aging list is Epitalon. And I think most of the research is about its effect on like telomerase activation. So we know our telomeres sort of like fray away. That's like the ends of our DNA. And that is like a very real cause of aging. So this is going to preserve that enzyme. So we are seeing like delayed biological aging with Epitalon. It has a very direct impact on circadian rhythm signaling, which we also know is very, very important to the aging process or,
Huge.
ideal health span. And we've talked about circadian rhythm. If you're not doing those foundations, that's an easy one, right? Like try to align your body with the rise and fall of the sun. But if you can't because you are a night shift worker or I don't know, a parent that is really struggling with children sleeping when they should be sleeping, this could potentially be something that would help restore that function of your circadian rhythm in that case, right? That could be a very specific use case.
Right, right. And to add to the telomere thing, I think it's cool that if you look at the 12 hallmarks of aging, one of them is telomere attrition. So this is going after that one. Of course, we want to try and target as many of the hallmarks as we can, but I think that's a really good solution. And again, I love this one because it's only 10 days twice a year. If that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very
you don't have to do
cool.
it very often. Yeah.
Yeah, and shouldn't do it more often than that.
No, no.
Yeah.
But I will warn you, you may have crazy dreams. You may have Renee dreams while you're on this.
I don't even know what that means. You always have crazy dreams.
My
Like, you should
Epitalon
have a
dreams?
deal with Hollywood because you would make excellent movies.
Like my peptide dream the other night.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell them.
Okay, I'll just give the quick overview of this dream. That there were these people they had created this they were rioting in the streets about peptides that we shouldn't be using peptides, and they were filling peptide syringes with fake peptides and then throwing them like darts at people. And so like I had all these like needles in my back, like a bunch of peptide darts. And I was like, no, I'm for safe, high quality, well sourced peptides, not fake peptides. It was so weird. It felt so real.
I mean, that is real. That's real. We
Yeah.
should make a short film and submit it to the Academy for this
I'm
year's
waiting
Oscars.
there's this idea that there will be like some kind of EEG brain cap that you can wear while you're sleeping and it'll record your dreams and then make it into a movie. I'm waiting. waiting.
Oh, I'm sure that's on the horizon.
Yeah. They may be more in the horror film category or thriller, but psychological thriller. I don't know. Okay.
We should decode your dreams. But that's a side note.
Right.
Back to longevity.
Next step.
Another exciting one is called MOTS-C. I haven't experienced this one yet. I don't know if you have, but it's great for mitochondrial health, metabolic flexibility. What, you have not?
I haven't tried this one yet. Yeah, I haven't done any of the mitochondrial ones yet. But a lot of biohackers really like this one.
Yeah, a direct impact on cellular energy metabolism, right? If our cells or our mitochondria make ATP, that is like the function of life, being able to make energy. If you have poor cellular energy because of toxicity or maybe like a virus, a lot of inflammation, that can help kind of turn that cellular energy metabolism back on. Great for DNA repair. That's why it's in this category. I think the next one you have done.
Yeah, DSIP. And I kind of threw it in this category because it's for sleep quality optimization. And to me, I think if you're sleeping better, you're living longer, healthier. So it stands for Delta Sleep Inducing Peptide. It's exactly what it says. It's inducing deep sleep. I've done the nasal spray and injectables. I'll be totally honest, I did not see a change in my Delta Sleep numbers. Two parts here. The nasal spray, I don't think that this one works great as a nasal spray, and I've talked to other people that felt the same way. So I turned around and I did the injectables, but I was doing it a lot during my surgery time. So I think there were too many variables. So I'm actually going to restart this one and be a little bit more clean with my experiment to see. But other people say, yeah, they've seen increases in their Delta deep sleep on their Oura Ring, their Whoop Band, things like that.
But you already have pretty good deep sleep, right?
It's pretty good. I get about an hour and a half. I'd like to see 2 hours.
Sure. But some people are getting 30 minutes. I just wonder, like, if your distance from A to B is much shorter than someone that's really getting, like, 30 minutes or less than 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's
right?
a good point.
Is there less of a need for that signaling that you're asking it for?
Yeah. That's very possible.
And you are doing it because you are a biohacker and we're trying to experience these so we can relay it back to you. But this is, I think the takeaway is that maybe you don't need that. Maybe someone else that really struggles and they've done everything to support deep sleep that could
for sure
get them over the hump.
Yeah. Great.
Last one.
Again,
is this longevity? This one?
I don't know. I didn't know what other category to put it in.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it goes there.
I mean, I've heard that, the more sex you have, the longer, healthier you could be. Okay, so we're talking about increased libido, PT 141. I have tried this a couple times. I haven't used it consistently, but this actually can be pulled out from melanotan, which we'll talk about later. It's a smaller or shorter chain of amino acids from that, and it just is for libido. So,
yeah.
And you can take it about an hour before.
Yeah, this is very specific timing. This is not like I do this every morning. This is before you're going to engage in sexual activity.
Right.
So I imagine this could be helpful for maybe couples that are, again, hopefully you're addressing all the foundations, but if you're trying to get pregnant and you're kind of struggling to get into that zone where you feel like doing it, this could be really helpful. We know the downstream effects of getting that libido enhanced. Sure, longevity. I love it. We'll come back to that one. Next category would be muscle, building muscle, fat loss, and performance. So yeah, they say these more of like a performance category. Top on the list would be a CJC 1295. Maybe you've heard of that one, often in combination with ipamorelin. This is a growth hormone signaling. And I use this one. Actually, so I've been doing the in-body scan that measures, so you stand on the plates, it measures your muscle mass versus your fat mass, and measures like intracellular, extracellular, whatever it is, body composition tests. Maybe you've done it or done something similar to that. I really need to check. I have my paper somewhere. I want to say I saw a 3% increase in my muscle mass after
Oh,
using it.
okay.
But then I immediately asked myself, I was like, well, have I just been more strict with my exercise? Have I been better with my protein? Probably all of the things. But I did see what I thought was a pretty significant increase after doing an 8-week run of the CJC ipamorelin combo.
Okay.
And then also I saw a decrease in my fat mass. So I think obviously there's a relationship here. The more muscle you have, the more fat you can burn. And I don't know if I can attribute it completely to that combination, but I think it certainly helped.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I did a round of this one too, and I didn't have any kind of like in-body scan. I wish I did, but I didn't change anything else. And just appearance wise, I felt like I had more muscle.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had Ryan do it too, and he felt that way too. But I'm going to do it again this spring. I just bought a new scale. Not as fancy as the in-body, but it was, I don't know, like $90 on Amazon, but it does body fat, bone, all that. So I'm going to do it and measure it on there and see if we see a change in numbers. But people love this one for the muscle building for sure.
Yeah. I liked it. I felt stronger, and I would say, I took it sort of at beginnings of winter, end of fall, when maybe I would have potentially gotten sick. I was doing Wicked in like dark, gross theaters. Knock on wood, I think this is the first winter that not only did I not get sick, because I don't get sick that often, but I didn't even feel an inkling of getting sick.
Not even a scratchy throat. Nothing.
No, that's a lie. Because when I was in Syracuse, I was having like a sore throat, but I feel like there was something in that hotel room.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
didn't feel like I was getting sick. I was just like, it felt like an isolated throat thing. But um, I just felt like I had a lot of energy. And
Oh,
like I could work hard at the gym and I didn't feel sort of beat down. I was still doing good recovery, but I feel like this did give me an edge. And then objectively, I saw a difference. Yeah, I just felt like I can tolerate the allostatic loads that I'm putting on my body.
yeah. So, question for you: what time of day did you take yours?
I was taking it morning and night. Though
Okay.
towards the end, because I started running out, I don't know if I might have miscalculated, but towards the end, I was only doing it in the morning.
Okay. Because I found that same. I got a little energy from it. I could not take it at night. I had to only take it in the morning. So something to keep an eye on. Some people can take it
Yeah.
at night. I think at night is actually the recommendation. But I did that the first night and I was like, let's go to the gym at midnight.
Oh no. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone is so different. I read that. I was
Yeah.
like, there's no way I can take this at night, but I got brave one time and I did it and then I was fine and actually
Okay.
was sleeping great during that time. But of course, there's always
Just
going to
growth
be a bio
hormone.
individual response here. So it's always a good recommendation to start low and slow, but we'll kind of get to the dosing and how you even think about getting these
Yeah.
things and how you
Right,
would,
right.
right? We're just kind of giving you
Yeah.
the intro here, but yeah, people can respond differently. But sounds like we both had a good experience with that one.
Yeah, yeah. And then just to kind of throw into this category, we also have tesamorelin and ceramorelin. Ceramorelin, so it's hard to say that one. Um,
Hmm.
Similar ones. And then
Yeah.
also wanted to throw in this category GLP-1s because of the fat loss. Again, check out our
Oh.
episode next week, episode 331, for a whole deep dive on that one.
Yeah, this is really
Yeah.
exciting because I think a lot of people are excited about GLP-1s because it's really moving the needle, but there are other options. Just gonna tease that out.
Yeah, stay tuned.
All right, next category. Brain, mood, cognitive function. I want my brain to work better. Help me, Renee. What I haven't
Nice.
really taken anything in this category yet. Tell me what you've done.
C-Max and Solank. I did both of them in the nasal spray. This is a case where these tend to be better nasal sprays, maybe a quicker route to the brain.
Hmm,
um,
sure.
some people notice more of like a nootropic effect, can calm anxiety, kind of just give you like that smooth, steady mental clarity. Um, a lot of times they're used together. You could certainly do one at a time.
What did you feel when you took them?
a slight, I would say, like nootropic effect, just a little bit better brain function. I use nootropics all the time, though, so I just did 30 days of this. But yeah, I
I
would
should do
recommend
it.
trying
I
it.
would probably feel it more than you because I never take nootropics.
Oh, yeah, that would be a good experiment. Yeah. And then the other one, dihexa, I feel like this is a little bit newer on the street. There's still a lot of research coming out about
On
it
the
for cognitive
street?
on the street. This is street legal. I don't know.
What?
I don't know what nootropics I took today. My brain's on another level. Dihexa, I haven't tried this one. But this would be an injectable, but more on cognitive repair. So I think could be interesting what we see with like neurodegenerative issues, especially with it on the
Alzheimer's.
rise. Yeah. So
Great.
stay tuned on that one.
Okay. Is this the last category? Yeah.
Yes.
Skin, hair, and aesthetics. I'm like, every category, I'm like, I want that. I want that. I want that.
I know. It's hard to not
Yeah,
want
when
everything.
when we were down in Tampa at why can I not think of that?
Hack Your Health?
At Hack Your Health. And we heard Jay Campbell, who was on our podcast, we're gonna have him back on, and he was listing off all these peptides and some that I hadn't heard. I was like, I want that, I want that. Add to cart, add to cart, add to cart.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, they are really exciting. So we hope that you're excited too, but get excited and like slow your roll, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay, so beauty category. Yeah, what do we got?
ghk-cu. It's basically copper. It's a copper peptide. It's really great for skin regeneration, collagen, hair growth. You can use it topically. In fact, I'm using it topically right now in just an over-the-counter Quicksilver, which is a supplement company that we really love. They do like a lot of liposomals, and they're actually getting into some peptide formulations now, but they're oral or topical. They're not doing injectables. I'm using a topical, there's a lot of ingredients in there, but I would say the main ones are the copper, the GHK, and some estradiol, so estrogen for the face. Now, this is not like a medical grade formulation, so I wouldn't say it's super strong, but I'm like, I'm going to give it a try. It's something. And then ghk-cu, we can also inject, and this is something that you can also stack with a BPC and a TB500. I am personally doing a round of this right now. So I think some people call it the glow.
The glow stack?
Yeah, the glow stack.
Yeah. And then you can also do the close stack, which is those three plus KPV, which we didn't really talk about. That's more for inflammation. Can be good for autoimmune conditions.
Viral.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do more on KPV. But yeah, so I'm taking the glow blend right now. I would say
You're injecting it? Does it sting at all?
yes, it does.
There we go.
Yeah,
That's that copper.
Copper stings a little bit. It does sting a little bit, but it goes away. It's very temporary.
Yeah. It's just like a bee sting, right? Like it's a quick little, and then it goes away?
Oh, but not as bad as a bee sting. But yes,
okay.
like as if you dialed down a bee sting, sure.
Okay.
How to scare you.
Yeah. I haven't injected it yet. I'm just using it topically. Like right now I'm doing the routine skin. There's a serum and a lotion, and it's blue, which is the copper peptide, which is fun. It doesn't turn your skin blue. It goes on blue, and then it goes into your skin. But that has the copper peptide and then snail mucin, kind of a fun ingredient. So I'll link to that one in the show notes if you want to check that out.
Okay. Yeah, and I will circle back about the GHK. I think it's too early for me to report back, but I've been on a skin kick. I'm trying to do all the things for my skin right now, so I will, circle back. But also because of the BPC TB, I'm using that really systemically because I'm doing Wicked right now. There's a lot of stress on my body, so I'm just like, send the repair signal wherever you need it to go, send it. And I would say I'm like, physically, I feel like I'm doing pretty well right now. No big complaints. I'm still healing my ankle injury. It is leaps and bounds beyond what it was when I first injured it. They initially told me it was going to be a year for recovery. I am at 6 months right now, and I would say I'm about 90% of the way there.
Wow,
so I don't know if
really
that's
good.
from the BPC TB and now this round of the glow, but I'm doing all the things. I'm doing all the foundational things. So,
Yeah, I'm sure it's helping.
yeah. Last one in this category, melanotan, which I have done. I've done melanotan, but I did a nasal spray. I didn't notice anything. But before I go and say, like, this one sucks, I'm going to try it again. I'm going to be a little more specific. I think I know a lot more about peptides and how to pay attention and structure them. But I didn't notice anything. Did you?
I did. I got tanner faster. What time of year did you do it?
Spring?
Okay. Were you in the sun much?
I wouldn't say there was a lot of sun. It wasn't a summertime, but it wasn't winter. I know that.
Yeah.
It wasn't indoors.
Because I've heard some people say they can inject melanotan and they get tannered, like not even with sun exposure. I didn't find that. I found like when I went in the sun, I just got tan quicker. But I feel like if you're like midwinter, you're not going to just like be, Donald Trump color or something like. Well, that's not going to happen any time of year, but
you're not going to snort and turn orange. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. But how this is working is it's telling your body to produce more melanin. That's the what controls the pigment or color of your skin. So, yeah, I think this is a fun one. It's also called the Barbie peptide. So,
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because it also
was
helps
Barbie
with libido.
super tan? Like OG Barbie? I don't remember.
I don't know that she was that tan. I guess that is kind of a funny. I guess it's because it's like the people that care about what their skin looks like. So it's the Barbie. I don't know. Throwing ideas out there.
Got it. So tan, like without the UV damage.
Yeah. And we talked about this on our episode with Nadine last week, where you can control your sun exposure by using this peptide to be in the sun less. You get tan faster, but less damage. So.
Yeah, it's protective.
Cool.
I think that was like one of the most exciting things from that episode. Very cool.
Yeah. So if you're going to be, for you all in the Northeast in the snowy weather, maybe you have a cruise or Caribbean vacation planned for spring break, this is a cool one to do before because it kind of prepares your skin for all that sun exposure so you don't get all that damage that people typically get at spring break. So, okay.
Yeah. All right.
Those are our top peptides. There are more, but those are the top ones we want to share. Yeah.
Oh gosh, there's endless. I think I'm working on a spreadsheet right now and I have, I need to reload this. How many? And this is scratching the surface. I have a list of 57 and that's scratching the surface.
Wow.
Obviously you don't need to know about all those, but these are just examples. So we touched on this a little bit, but I want to talk about how peptides are taken. So injections, that's sort of the main route of entry, the subcutaneous injection. That's going to be the most bioavailability. But there are more and more oral formulations, like for BPC. There's nasal sprays, like Renee said, for the melanotan. Or did you say the PT-141, C-Max?
Oh, PT-141, you can do nasal spray.
Yeah. And then topical, like a ghk, the copper. Yeah, so slightly different absorption for all of those, but we have some options if you don't like needles. Ooh, what else do we need to know about how they're taken? Did we do that? We good?
I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think you just be open that it's going to be more specific to which peptide you're looking for, but there are options. Yeah, I think we need to talk about safety, quality, especially after my crazy dream the other night. This is top of mind.
Peptide darts.
Peptide darts. Maybe that's a new delivery form. If your spouse doesn't like needles, you just throw the dart across the room. Gotcha. Okay. So sourcing really matters, especially if you're injecting them. This is not to be taken lightly. I have not checked this, but I heard you can buy peptides like on Amazon, like the dark web.
What? No.
I've heard crazy things. So guys, please don't buy these shady peptides. You don't know. One, you might not even be getting the amino acids, the peptide that you're looking for. Two, they can be high in heavy metals. We're looking at lead, mercury, not good. Aluminum maybe. There also could be like yeast or like mycotoxins. There's a lot of junk that could be in there. So don't buy the shady, cheap stuff.
LPS is bacterial endotoxins that really just created downstream like metabolic storm. We do not want that in your body. But we're already seeing this problem with supplements, specifically on Amazon, where a lot of these retailers are white labeling. And so you're getting these heavy metals, these toxins in it. But as we mentioned, with an oral formulation, you're not going to absorb all of it. If you're injecting it, you're absorbing almost all of it. So if you don't know what you're injecting and you're getting almost 100% of it, that's even scarier than a supplement that you're not 100% sure about.
Right. So there are two routes that we're going to recommend. One, let's start with telehealth peptide companies. So we've been looking for a company to work with for a long time, and we finally partnered with them back in like September. Mm-hmm. This is LEMD. This is a great example of this. You are going to work with a licensed medical provider. They are actually prescribing you peptides from compounded pharmacies. They're very safe. You know, they are doing toxin testing. They're triple filtered. They're watching the potency, and it's personalized. So if you are new to this and you're overwhelmed by it, I would go this route, because you're going to have someone that's reviewing your health history, your intake form, and saying, this is what I think is appropriate. This is how you're going to dose it. Super safe way to go. Anything you would add about that route, like the LEMD route?
I would just add that it is sort of a limited list of things that you have access to, but this is the way to start. This is 100% way to start. But if you're a biohacker and you already have learned a lot about peptides and you want like the longer list, here we'll tell you the second route. But just know like not everything is going to be available there, because they're really, really, really trying to stay on top of these FDA registered and manufactured, making sure that everything is super, 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 super safe and personalized.
Right. So then the other route is the research peptides. So the company that we've been using is BioLongevity Labs. They have all the peptides. We do like this company because you can get the COA, the certificate of analysis on the peptides. So they're safer than like the shady companies I was talking about when I first started this topic. But they are labeled for research use only. So this is really for the biohacker that's ready to jump in, do the research, and you feel comfortable doing that.
That's not something I will recommend to, I'll just say you, the listeners or clients. Like this is really if someone is going to take a lot of responsibility into their own hands and make sure you're doing literally every ounce of research to make sure that it's right for you.
Yeah. Because you also have to figure out your dosage, right? There's not a personalization that you're getting with a company like LEMD.
Yeah. And peptide math is kind of hard. It's confusing.
Yeah,
to be honest.
my math skills have gotten better recently, thanks to peptides. Yeah, because you have to, that's the other thing when you're getting these vials of the peptides, you know, it's just like a little white powder in a vial, and then you have to buy the water to reconstitute it. So you're doing that math. And then if you are going to do that, just FYI, you never want to shake the vial once you've mixed it, because once you mix it, then the peptides can degrade really quickly. So you would slightly roll it, gently roll it, mix it in your hand, never shake it. And then it does have to be stored in the refrigerator. Don't put it in your fridge door, because even that is too much like temperature change, movement. You want to put it like on a shelf in your fridge. But then you're figuring out the dosage from there. So it is a lot of math for sure.
Things I did not know in 2019 when I took my BPC 157 injectables to Burning Man.
Yeah.
I had a different ankle injury then, my other ankle, and I flew to Nevada, and then I got on a bus, and then I was in an RV, and I had it was cold the whole time, but I'm sure that it was shaken. Very much
shaken,
so.
Not stirred. Yeah.
Yeah, just stirred, please.
Gently stirred. Yeah. Okay.
So
we'll put resources in the show notes for that.
Yeah, we're gonna share LEMD. I'll just say like these are expensive. We want them to be expensive. If they're cheap, please don't look for the cheapest option, because quality is going to drastically decline as you go cheaper. That's why we don't want to shop on Amazon. We don't want to. I don't even know how to search the dark web. I honestly don't know. we're not looking for the cheapest option. You want quality. So if you look at LEMD and go, wow, that's a lot of money. Yeah, because you're paying for the supervision of a doctor. You're paying for the personalization. You're paying for someone to do all of that legwork for you, to figure out the dosing, to look at contraindications of other supplements and medications that you're taking. It is all being done for you. So it's going to come at a slightly higher cost than something like a BioLongevity if you want to do all that extra stuff by yourself. But it's honestly, it's a lot of decision fatigue and math. So just know, yeah, this is why we want to be doing the foundations. This is not going to be your magic pill, and you certainly don't want to spend that much money on a magic pill. Like, start working on the behaviors, and hopefully that maybe is even like a pause point for some of you. Let's work on this other stuff, the behaviors first, and then if you're like, I really want to take it to the next level, then yeah, it is worth the investment.
Yeah. So, like, who is this for? I think you kind of just did a great list of that. Like, you're doing all the things, you want to take it to the next level. It should not be used if you are pregnant. Correct. And also if you have active cancer, also if you have a history of cancer, I would absolutely talk with your healthcare provider about that, because there are some things like BPC 157, it can increase angiogenesis. So that's part of how it works, right? It's supporting growth and blood flow in the body to repair tissue. But if you have a history of cancer, that's not a good idea. But again, that's where working with a medical provider can be really helpful. And then
and along with the pregnancy, that includes breastfeeding as well.
Right.
Pregnancy and breastfeeding. Yeah.
Yeah. Always be safe with that. Yeah. So anything else we want to add?
I think let's wrap this up. If you're considering or you're excited about peptides, just know they're not the magic bullet without good cellular health. So that's going to be really like the sum of all of your choices, your inputs, your lifestyle, right? That's nutrition, it's sleep, it's exercise, it's water, it's good thoughts and mindset, all of these things that affect our cellular health. We've got to do those foundations. And then we can come in with the peptides, which are natural and endogenous to the body, to help come in and say, hey, restore this function, make this work a little bit better. Hey, knock on the door. We've got to turn the lights on to help get you to the next level. If you're dealing with something like an injury, inflammation, getting hit with some immune stuff, some gut issues, these definitely are a level up. We can stack these with medications. Like, a lot of times they can be taken in conjunction with, obviously we're not going to get into that today, or they can be taken like with a GLP-1, or they're really great for coming off of a GLP-1 potentially and kind of bridging that gap. Like, there's a lot of places we can put them. And that's another reason to go work with LEMD, just to make sure you're figuring out, like, why are you using these and how are they going to benefit you? Because we're all bio-individual, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll throw one more resource out to everyone. Lauren and I are actually currently in the Peptide University certification course. So if you do want to do a deep dive, like, and take this seriously, I think that's a good resource if you want to nerd out on peptides. So
yeah.
All right.
Cool. All right, peptide junkies or future peptide junkies. Like, we do think that this is the future. I think maybe we were avoiding it for a little while, but it's here. It's here. It's there.
It's here.
It's everywhere. Peptides. That was terrible. It's really bad.
I love that.
If you're as excited as we are and you have more questions, of course, you know where to find us. You can email us, biohackerbabes@gmail.com, DM us on Instagram. Please find us, because as we said at the beginning, we're excited.
Just a little bit. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's a wrap. We will see you all next time.